Today we're going to be talking about Speedhut gauges installed into a Datsun 620 pickup. Alright, now that we've gotten all of our wiring connected, I went ahead and first thing we're going to connect is the speedometer, which I put on top of the dash. We're just going to go ahead and hook that straight up here. And then all those wires that I ran into the dash earlier, I'm going to go ahead and plug them all in. Got a lot of extra wires that I found was power on all the time for my hot wire, ignition power, lights, and of course those turning signals. So first we're going to hook up is our hot all the time. A good thing to do is to kind of switch up how you hook things up so they're not all the same. So I got round connectors, I've got spades. Sometimes I'll put the spade on the gauge side, sometimes I'll put the spade on the ignition side, or on the wiring harness side. Kind of depends. Alright, so then I got a ground, I got a feedback to where we're going to run ground. I'll get to ground underneath the dash. Alright, here's where all the lights go, so we are going to plug in now. Alright, I've got fused power, so since it's a fuse, I'm going to tuck it down lower so I can get to that 3 amp fuse if ever needed. Ignition power goes right there. I'm going to tuck that 3 amp fuse back kind of where the ground is. Now all I have left to hook up are the turning signals. So. Alright, getting this guy put back together, getting the dash in, back together, putting it back in, get the windshield wiper put back together. And I want to bring up this thing, putting this guy back on. One thing I recommend is putting the bottom on first. Once you get it back on, there's a screw here and a screw here. These two screws are the best ones to put in. I'll show you. camera set in a good spot, because they go basically, there's a little clip right in there it goes into, and then same thing on the other side. There's a clip there that it goes into, so that'll hold the bottom in and together, and all that. All right, now we're going to discuss programming the gauges now that they're installed and set. Everything in there is wired. So as it sits right now, there's no power going to anything. I made sure there's no power going to it. The gauges for the Speedhut gauges come set with 4 pulses per revolution, which is very common for V8s. In the style of wiring that we are doing, there's different styles. There's ECM, TAC outputs. There's also stuff for fuel injection and for coil packs for like Mustangs, newer Mustangs, and stuff like that. And then like LS motors have a single coil pack per injector or per spark plug. So they have different kinds of wiring for each kind of engine that you have. They're very thorough, so they did a very good job here, very descriptive. Now we have one coil that feeds a distributor, and we're pulling off the negative side of the coil. So we're going to have to do 2 pulses per revolution, which is common for a 4-cylinder. Now all these gauges have these little buttons here, and these are how you program them. So what we're going to do is we're going to push and hold this button while we power up the gauges. So we are kind of bright here, but we're set to 2 now. I've already set this off camera and everything's been programmed, but we're going to do it again here. Kind of show you what we're looking at. So it's set to 2, so you can adjust it by hitting the buttons. So we're going to normally be set there. That's where it comes factory from the manufacturer Speedhut. We're going to go ahead and bring it back down to 2 where I already had it set previously. And now it's set for 4 cylinders. Now if I don't touch anything, after 5 seconds, it will go back and it blinks twice. These shift lights blink twice, which is what it did the last time we did it because I wouldn't move fast enough. But now the tachometer should be good to go. It's set. Now we're going to discuss the different features that come with the speedometer. So speedometer right now is showing the rubidometer, and it's showing the trip meter. I can press and hold the button to reset the trip meter at any time, but there's lots of different features on this. So one of the next features is the clock. I can leave that sit and it'll gain the clock's time. It'll actually do it from the GPS satellites. All I need to do is to set the hour and our time zone. I can press and hold the button to toggle between AM, PM, and time zone changes and all that. The GPS will actually acquire a lot of that. Time is acquired from GPS satellites. So as long as I have GPS seen, I should be able to have a clock. Now, I'm in my garage, so I don't know how much the GPS is actually seeing me, but we'll see. To maybe acquire the satellites. Not 100% sure, because technically right now it's an hour off. But next one is elevation. With acquired GPS, it should show the high of sea level I have. Again, meters, it could be meters or feet, but this one's set in feet, which I'm thankful for. But it kind of changing a lot, so I don't know how good my GPS is here. I guess I am sitting still, trust me. Next one is I can set my speed feature right there, so I can be mile/hour digital speed display. Instead of reading the needle, I can actually see what my actual speed is. The next one is this one is direction. So this one is showing what direction I'm facing or going. I think it automatically defaults to north if you're not moving. Because technically I'm not facing north, but GPS doesn't know that because I'm not driving. Next one is peak top speed reached. This one can get you in some trouble. This one shows the top speed that you've reached. You can press and hold to clear it. This one probably gets you in some trouble if going down the highway for sure. I don't know about this little 4-cylinder 620, but maybe another vehicle for sure. Next one is your 0 to 60. You press and hold it to stage while the car is stopped. The timer will start as soon as you move. Once you hit 0 miles per hour, it will actually show you your time. This will be interesting to use, even for a little 4-cylinder like I got. I would like to see what our 0 to 60 is, and I'll actually, maybe this video or the next, show this feature actually being in use when I get the car back on the road, or the truck back on the road. Just like this one, the next one is just as fun. It's a quarter-mile time. So you can actually show your quarter mile when your car is at a stop. These features are a lot of fun. These features, for the price of the gauges, I mean, they're not cheap gauges, but at the same time, I'm very pleased that these features are in here, because these features are in some of the nicest gauges that I have. Like I have a Monte Carlo that has some of the nicest gauges you can buy, and all these features have a lot of the same features that it does. The display isn't nearly as clean as what I have on the other ones, but it's still a good looking, a good feature to have on your fun cars that you drive daily or just from time to time. Now we're going to move to the 4-port gauges. All right, last thing we need to do is program the fuel gauge to the fuel sending unit. I am not going to be doing a manual deal. I'm going to go ahead and try and get the closest that I can on ohms reading. So basically, I have a couple different choices. One being I have on this car, 88 is empty and 10 is full. So I've got a couple choices where I can go where the quarter full sign is 80 or is a 70 to 10, which means I can read 100% when I'm full, or I can read low early. So it will read low empty. It'll read empty, but it will not be completely empty. That's a safer bet. Or I can go with a 3/4, which will never show full, which is 90 to 0 ohms, which will never show full, but it will get really, really close to empty. So I personally am going to try the 90 to 0 and the 3/4 sec spectrum. I may try the quarter later, but for right now I'm going to do the 3/4. So pretty simple. They've thought of everything. They've tried to get everything as close to manufacturer specs, the most popular vehicles that they're going to be putting these in. So basically we just hold this for 12 seconds. All right. So we can do that. I can go to the quarter if I want to stay safe and show empty early. I never run out of gas, but if I want to show empty accurately, I'm going to have to go right here. And then, so we make sure that's good. Then to be done, I believe I just hold this for 2 seconds. And the 2 blinks means that it's been programmed. So now we're going to start reading what my gas gauge is. All right, it looks like I have a lot more fuel in here than I thought. Either that or I've got the gauge backwards. So only time will tell as I drive this thing and see if it starts moving up or if it starts moving down when I drive it. So yeah, there you have it. Run a little low on volts. I need to get this thing charged, but you have the gauges have all been set, and they're all running and they're all working. So now we're going to do some test driving and make sure everything is as it should be, and kind of go from there. And there you have them. Gauges installed, looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and show you what they look like lit up. Everything looks really good. I'm really super happy about it. I can't wait to get it on the road and actually see how these things operate, see if they're as accurate, and make sure that they are good quality. But they seem to be very nice quality, and I seem to be very happy with it so far. Join us next time, and we're going to do some different modifications on this truck. I think we're going to put a short throw shifter in here, and we may do, and we're going to be doing some brakes, I know, eventually, some wheel wood disc brake conversion kits, and stuff like that. So stay tuned, follow the channel if you'd like, and we will see you next time.